say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. Say na 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 na. I 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 never had it easy for the brands and the bling and the expensive thing on. I never had the money, never had nice living. And mama say, oh, you could have it all, just work hard for yours. I say, mama, you know I work hard for sure. Now Jaja bless me with the opportunity to fly country to country. Now I can drink champagne when I thirst. Now I can see only thing I never see. They say this how I eat man so long. But I thank me for the run my family. No bad mind boy, they can stop me. And every show I smiling cause trust me, life is so lovely, boy. And I'm far from finish, boy. And I can't believe it, no. See, I'm far from finish, boy. Love the life that I live in, yeah. I say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. Say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. I say na na na. I say na 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 na. I say na na na. I say na 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 na. Forever thankful for doubters in the past and the people who laugh on us. Forever grateful for all the times I failed. And Papa say, oh son, you can't give up. What's for you is for you. I say, Papa, you know I will never stop, no. Now Jaja bless me with the opportunity to fly country to country. Now I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. Now I could see all the thing I never see. They say this how I eat man so long. But I thank you for the run my family. No bad mind boy, they can stop me. And every show I'm smiling cause trust me, love is so lovely, boy. And I'm far from finished, boy. And I can't believe it, no. See, I'm far from finished, boy. Love the life that I live in. I say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. Say na 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 na. I say na 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 na. I say 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 na na na. Now every little thing that I have, man, I'm thankful for. And I don't chase material thing, cause I come from far. So every little thing that you have, be grateful for. And we don't chase material thing. No. I'm far from finish, boy. I'm so far, and I can't believe it, no. And I can't believe. See, I'm far from finish, boy.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You know we're far from finished, right? As a matter of fact, we're just getting started. Want to say much love to each and every one. Welcome to the night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. Big ups to those near, big ups to those far. Those hailing from across the pond. Top of the morning to you guys over in the UK, One Harmony Radio. King Genius, Queen Genius, much love to you. Big ups to those who are locked in from the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com. Blessings, Mr. Lindsay. Greetings to those who are locked in out of New Jersey on NIE Radio. With my brother from another mother, the motivator. Those who are locked in on Mix102.com. Also to New Jersey. And their sister station in Jamaica, Earth 96 FM. Simple and the crew. Blessings to you. Want to say much love to those who are locked in out to New York, exhibiting the power of music on island worldwide. China Nicole, Gary, on the Jump Out production crew, much love to you.
Now I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. Now I could see all the thing I never see. They say this how I get my
The massive on Zeno FM. Those on Clubhouse. Bubbling in the stew pot. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
And I'm far from finished.
The massive on YouTube Live. And those at the home of the night shift with DJ Kevin Stew, kevinstew.com. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. Couldn't do it without you. You have my word. I wouldn't even try. Invite you to call a friend, tell a friend, friends of your friends, friends of your enemies, enemies of your friends and your enemies too. Call up somebody, anybody, everybody, let them know. It's a night shift to DJ Kevin Stew. We're on live and in living color. The sound of voice in the background kicking things off. A track called Far From Finished.
So every little thing that you have, be grateful for. And we don't chase.
Really appropriate for tonight's broadcast. I always tell y'all I am far from finished, but you know, y'all know that about me. My guest tonight is a young man you're not quite familiar with, most of you, but a whole bunch of you are. But there are some things that you probably want to know, and you have an opportunity tonight to find out. But before I do that, I want to do some housekeeping. I want to say thank you to my segment sponsors, Pulse Media Group, and Being in the Moment is Price. Let's go ahead and give them a call. 754-999-1140. They can provide you with the services so that you can do what I am doing right here. Have my website, have my broadcast on my website. Yeah, they go as far as hosting my website. They can host yours too. Thank you, Pulse Media Group. I want to say thank you to Althea and her Healing Heavenly Hands. Althea is a licensed massage therapist operating out of Broward County, North Miami-Dade, and South Palm Beach counties. She comes to you, bringing her table, her oils, and over 20 years massage therapy experience. Go ahead and give her a call today, 954-655-9000. That's 954-655-9000. She only has one request, outside of paying her, that is. It's that you get off her table and go sleep somewhere else when she's done. It's called the Kevin Stew clause. Because I'm always falling asleep. Trust me. When she lay those hands on you, you will fall asleep too.
Now I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. Now I could see all the thing I never see. They say this how I get man so long.
Thank you, Alvina, your healing heavenly hands. Want to say big ups to the Global Base.
I'm far from finished.
The Global Base navigates your journey across music, marketing, and more. It's a realm where social spheres awaken through their mastery. Go ahead and embrace the invitation to liberate your creativity unbounded and free. Just like their consultation. Free. Free 99 is the best price you can find anywhere. The Global Base is your catalyst for everything related to music, marketing, and event planning, social media content, and much, much more. I want to say thanks to McNeil Trucking. McNeil Trucking has your goods in good hands. They're a veteran-owned, licensed, and insured mover in the state of Florida. So if you want to move from the Keys up to Jacksonville, from Naples to Palm Beach, Pompano to Pensacola, and all points in between. You want to put some things in storage, you don't have the manpower, you don't have the transportation, don't worry. You have the name, you have the number. McNeil Trucking, 954-406-9740. Call them up and tell them Kevin Stew sent you. Reminding you to get your copy of the audiobook available to you today. And everyone should get their hands on a copy of this. Well, if you want to get the paperback, that's available too. Authored by Jonathan Field, it's titled Empowered: Essential Concepts and Strategies Every Woman Should Know About Self-Defense. Jonathan authored it, Kevin Stew narrated it. Go ahead and get your audiobook today. You can find it on Audible. You can go to kevinstew.com and click on the book cover that you see right there. It takes you to exactly where you need to be. I want to say big ups to the One Jamaica Legal Defense Foundation. Working hard in the community. And trust and believe they are far from finished. The OJLDF is dedicated to defeating the threat to democracy and hold public officials accountable in the beautiful country of Jamaica. You can hear about what they're doing on a Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern on Reggae Global Radio with Mr. Will Rattigan, Isaac Buchanan, Lincoln Prezi Lewis, whichever guests they have on, and sometimes yours truly too. Go ahead and check out the website ojldf.net. See how you can get involved, see what they're doing. And in the midst of that, I mentioned ISAT before, do not miss Context Matters. Happens each and every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern. With the man himself, Mr. ISAT Buchanan. Check him out. See how context matters. For now, I'm finished. Finished with the housekeeping, that is. Have a little adjustment to do right here for my guests.
Forever thankful for doubters and the past and the people who laugh on her. Forever grateful for all the times I failed. And Papa say, oh son, you can't give up. What's for you is for you. I said, Papa, you know I will never stop. No. Now Jaja blessed me with the opportunity to fly country to country. Now I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. Now I could see all the thing I never.
Now my guest tonight is a guy that I have known for more years than he looks. So I've known him for a number of years, but he doesn't look like he could be that old for me to know him that many years. I swear this boy has not aged. And I can't, it's kind of disrespectful to call him a boy. Now this man has not aged, but he knows it's out of love. No disrespect is intended, and no disrespect is directed his way. It's all love. And he knows there's nothing but love. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, thank you, voice. The sound of voice in the background. Well, cut off. No. Yeah, enough voice. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. My guest for the evening, actually, this is really his broadcast. I'm just going to facilitate it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and only Mr. Leon. No, you don't know him as that, sorry. Mr. Lawman Lynch. Brethren, greetings. Brethren, Greetings,
your listeners
greetings.
and viewers.
Let me see. Where is this looping? Okay, I got it. All right. Welcome, 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 welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you could take some time out to join us. So, Lawman Lynch, boy, how long has it been since I laid eyes on you in person? In
In
person.
person, probably 20 years.
More than,
You sure?
more than.
Probably 20. I mean, I've been in the US for 14. August 2 this year made 14 years since I've been in the US. Um, when did you leave Jamaica?
2003.
Wow.
Think about it. Yep.
So you're looking at 21 years then.
Since I left Jamaica. And you were
Yeah,
busy
21.
between the time that, yeah, we were both kind of busy before I left
Yeah.
Jamaica. So there weren't a whole lot of times that we crossed paths. But,
So I haven't seen you since I was a teenager.
and you haven't aged since you were a teenager. So,
Well, listen, I do not know what you're talking about because you haven't aged either. I mean,
well, listen, you, when last, I had here the last time you saw me. So, I don't know.
bald is a thing now, you know. You have some people who opt to go bald. I don't know if it is a
Well,
situation of age or genetics or it's fashion for you, but I mean, at the end of the day, still in the face, we don't look too bad. We have to
yeah,
give
well,
thanks.
certain things don't crack.
Hmm.
And this is one of those things right here.
Right, right, right.
But you've been busy. Um, you've been busy before you left Jamaica, and you migrated to the United States, and somehow, some way, you even got more busy. It's like that was possible, but let us go down the path. Let's go wind the clock back and go to the beginning because there are some people listening in right now who don't know who Lawman Lynch is. Some habits die hard, and to get to the point where right now you are running for a city council seat in one of the major cities in the United States. So wind us back, lay the foundation to who Lawman Lynch is.
Before I even get into that, Kevin, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on the work that you're doing and to highlight the fact that you, as an individual, you're extremely resilient. This platform that you have built, this work that you are doing, if individuals really know and understand the story, they'll be so much more appreciative and respectful of the work that you've been putting in here in these United States of America. Now,
Thank you.
to say who I am, it takes the question. I would so appreciate if the question was a little bit more pointed, but I'm going to try and direct it, um, in a way that your audience may find useful. When I made the transition to the United States, as you know, and many others would know, it was to an extent against my will. If if someone had asked me back in January 2010 where I would be living come December 2010, I would have definitely said Jamaica because I had no known relatives in the United States. I didn't know of anybody in the United States. I could say, somebody is filing for me, or there's a job opportunity in America that I'm going to take on. Nah, that was not the case. Situations happen, circumstances happen, and then I was, for want of a better word, forced out of of Jamaica. And that's a conversation that I would have only on a platform that is moderated by a Jamaican, because there are so many other situations happening in Jamaica, so many other great things happening in Jamaica, that what I believe happened to me was an isolated case, right? But who I am at my core is that I'm really someone who is passionate about youth and community development. So ever since I was in primary school, since age 7, I tell individuals all the time that I've been involved in community development, because my aunt was the president of our Citizens Association. And I remember going to our Citizens Association meeting when I was extremely young. And the secretary was out sick one Sunday. It was a Sunday evening. And I volunteered to take notes in that Citizens Association meeting. And that is where it really began for me, a life of what I would say is public service and advocacy. And, I grew up in that environment. In high school, when I was at Wolmer's, I was very, very active in student leadership and debates. And that carried on into my adult years. I became president of my own Citizens Association in my community when I was about 18 years old. And it just spiraled after that. So if I was to say who I am, I would say that I am more of a people's advocate more than anything else. I do not like injustice of any form. I will defend anybody who I believe is being treated incorrectly. I am one of those individuals who I would say I'm a vanguard of the marginalized, or those who are vulnerable. I do understand, though, even when we take into consideration our Jamaican motto, out of many, one people, I do understand that even those who are affluent, they too have issues that needs to be dealt with. Right. So, and that is why I say I'm a people's advocate opposed to a youth advocate or a poor man advocate. I just believe that when individuals are in dire straits or in dire needs, there has to be somebody who would be able to help them to navigate those processes. And I see myself as one individual who may be able to do that.
Thank you for the overview, because people look at where people are currently and they make assumptions about why they do it. You, like myself, got involved in community service very early, and without even knowing it. Some of the things that we did, going to church, some of the outreach that we were involved with, we didn't know that was what it was called. We just were told, okay, this is scheduled for this time. We're going to this nursing home, to this children's home, to Christmas morning you're going to University Hospital. Everybody else getting up and opening present, and I did so many years of that. But this is community service. But we didn't know that was what it was called. You went a little bit further with it. Outside of your aunt, seeing your aunt involved in it, was there anything else that drew you in that direction? It was just the whatever it was that the creator put in you and said, this is going to be your fight. This is going to be your journey.
I'm appreciative of that question, Kevin, and I'm going to ensure that what I'm about to say is intentionally or deliberately a part of my narrative moving forward, because the way in which you framed it just now is God, for want of a better phrase. We're a part of our movement, the Salvation Army, growing up, where it's really come to help us. And I never thought of it from that perspective. My grandmother was the salvationist in the family and ensured that everybody, from my sister, who's now an officer, by the way, down in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
um, my sister, my cousins, we're all heading to the Salvation Army Almond Town Core every Sunday, and not even every Sunday. From Sunday to Sunday, we were there. There was an activity every single day, right?
Just
I
about.
learned
Mm-hmm.
I'm a musician because of the Salvation Army.
Right.
And you said something that is so important. Christmas morning, when the average teenager or the average youngster would be home, opening a gift or whatever, we were delivering gifts. We
Correct.
were offering our services at the hospital, at the prison. We're doing
Prisons.
prison ministry
Mm-hmm.
as teenagers,
Yep.
and really not knowing that what we're doing is really a life of service. We thought we're just going to church and doing whatever the YPSM said. Your mom was a YPSM, by the way. We're just doing what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is just ingrained in us. It is entrenched in us. And whether or not, even if we wanted to veer or steer away from it, we can't, because it is just in us. It's like the life of service is just a part of us, or we're a part of it. So I believe that the Salvation Army really molded me,
Mm.
or it really accentuated everything that I am innately.
Got you. So ultimately, this was your calling. This has always been your calling.
Yes,
And
yes.
was there a time that you wanted to ignore it? Was there a time that you looked at other things and said, "Boy, you know what? This looks very lucrative. I could get into this. Let me try this," and then ended up not quite working out in it. Was there any time like that?
Once I think all the time, because you know what, we want more money.
Mm.
We want to have more resources. We want to have a bigger platform. I want to have a platform like yours, DJ Kevin Stew, where thousands of people are watching me, and I can, really make an impression, and I can influence on a wide scale. And it doesn't always happen. The truth is, I am an educator by profession. I'm a social worker to an extent by profession. Those two professions really don't pay a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I could go ahead and I could have been a lawyer. I could have been a doctor. At
Mm-hmm.
one point in time, I really wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
But even as I think about it and thought about it and have conversations with my friends, you know what they say? I'd be a poor man's lawyer. I wouldn't make money, because a lot of what I do based on my personality would be pro bono.
It give
You
away
get
the
what I'm saying?
services.
So it's like each time I think about it, I'm like, what would I be doing if this wasn't my calling, or if I didn't choose this path? And I really cannot answer that question, because for me, I am doing really what I am passionate about. So it really doesn't feel like work. I mean, we've been on the parkway since I got up what time this morning? I don't know. We walked about to and from one end of Eastern Parkway to the other end of Eastern Parkway was
Mm.
about 4 hours. It was a full 7 hours of walking probably, and just meeting people, and sharing my campaign platform issues, and it felt like nothing. I could do
Mm.
it again tomorrow. you
Yeah.
know so I just think that this is something that I was born to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities.
Okay. For those of you that are listening in from wherever you are, and you want to ask a question, you want to say a word of encouragement or anything like that, go ahead and you can use up the phone line 773-789 stew 773-789-7839. The number is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. Those of you that are watching, 773-789 stew. That's an easy way to remember it. and you can use WhatsApp, Telegram, regular phone call from anywhere in the world that you are. If you want to say something, big up Leah, Lawman, our encouragement, young soldier, keep at it, whatever it is that you want to say, feel free. And those of you who are on YouTube, those on kevinstew.com, of course, the stew pot is there. Wondering what the stew pot is? It is on kevinstew.com, what others call a chat room. Because we're fancy, we call it the stew pot. It's where things are interactive and bubbling. So come on in and add a little bit of spice, your own. You can remain anonymous, you can give your name. Either way works fine for me, just remain respectful. Now, Lawman, sounds so strange calling it. Feels so strange calling it that. Lawman.
Because of the familiarity, man.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. We come from so far. What were some of the challenges that you faced early out? So go back to Jamaica. You getting into being an advocate. What were some of the challenges that you were facing then, and what were you advocating for?
So I'm gonna go to childhood. Before heading into Wolmer's, I was away on an exchange program, and my father brought me to the airport. I was 10, 11, thereabouts, and when I returned to Jamaica, he didn't pick me up from the airport. And at that age, I was a little bit suspicious of that. Only to find out when I got home that while I was away, my father was murdered, right? So what that did to my family was, for want of a better word, devastating, right? Because now my mother became an official single parent.
Yes, I remember that.
I didn't live with my father, but at least every Sunday I could go to his house for lunch money. That option was no longer there, right? So it became a situation where my mother and my older sister had to take on that responsibility of guiding me through high school by themselves. And I think that kind of had a negative impact. Even though we were able to navigate the situation or navigate the experience, I think that kind of impacted us negatively. The thing is, that is the story of many Jamaicans, right? So I'm not owning as only my story. It's a story of many Jamaicans. So that was a challenge. As I got into youth and community development work, I recognized that it's a very ungrateful job at times. You have those individuals who are very, very thankful and very grateful, but then you have those who you'll do 99 for, and if you don't do that one for, it becomes a serious problem, and they will drag you. Right? So what I had to do was to develop thick skin early in my life. And my mother is not college educated, but I believe that she's one of the most intelligent individuals I have ever met, right? Because when I was in my teenage years going to Wilma's, she said to me, Leon, if everybody likes you, something is wrong with you. I never knew what it meant then, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, I wanted everybody to like me. Right? And she often said, if everybody likes you, something is definitely wrong with you. And it was eventually I recognized what she meant and the gems that she was really planting in me, because to say that I had major challenges, they were peripheral. I understood people early enough. I studied human behavior early enough just by my experiences and how individuals treated me as a person. And I just decided that I'm going to navigate those situations positively. everybody won't be the same, right? And we are not helping people to get something in return. We're helping because we want to help. We're helping because that's what we're about. So the challenges have been there. Even when I started my foundation back in Jamaica, um, I lived below Crossroads. So, there are two different rules. Here we have multiple
Yes.
Jamaicas. You understand? And those who are
Yes.
Jamaican understand what I'm talking about. There are multiple Jamaicans. So, individuals, the sponsorship wasn't coming in as much as it should. So I used to use my salary to offset expenses associated with community development work. That was a major challenge because when everybody else was going to parties and going up to the North Coast for weekends and stuff, I didn't have that flexibility because all of my resources went into feeding programs and back to school initiatives. It wasn't until recently, when I say recently, I mean in the past 2 years, that I can say that, well, I'm promoting an event and you see people rushing out, right? Before that, it was really a struggle. So those are, the main struggle was to really get people on board to put their money where their mouth is. Another struggle was really individuals being extremely judgmental, uncaring, unappreciative. But then, to me, all of that is balanced because the majority, especially those whose lives we have been impacting, they are grateful and thankful.
Yeah, one of those real thankless jobs for real. But again, the passion, the
Yeah.
calling. So you weren't, although you had these hurdles, although you had these boulders in your way from very early, you have been able to look back and realize, oh, you unsurmountable boulder at the time, you're just a stepping stone. Because these were the things to help build character. These were the things to help understand some of the hurdles that were along the way. And the hurdle is just a stumbling block. It's just a hindrance in the way. It's not something to say that you cannot go past this point. It's not a roadblock. It's not a cliff where there's no way to go forward. It's just something to slow you down a little bit, but something that you can learn from. And hearing you reflect, going back to your childhood days in Jamaica, your early days of giving back, your early advocacy days, it shows where you have been resilient. You have been putting in the work. So now here it is, you're told, well, listen, you gotta go. No matter, you just can't stay here, you gotta go. What was that like for you? The first time you heard it, and when you realized, boy, this is really happening. What was that like?
You know, I the idea was to be out of Jamaica for a month and a month only. The 2nd of August to the 2nd of September. And it wasn't something that I was in support of at all. But individuals who were close to me, and my mother's like, go, man, just go for a while, because I can be stubborn. I can be stubborn. I'll admit that. I can be stubborn. And I'm like, ooh,
I should get
me
typey
not
on
go
the phone.
nowhere. You understand? But I saw what it was doing to my family, my mother in particular, because no mother wants to believe that her son or her child is in harm's way, right? So I decided to go, and I stayed with a young lady who I met on Facebook. hear me good? Because I remember, I said I did not know anybody, no
Right.
relatives. Well, I had friends in New York, but I had, no relatives. And she reached out, I would say around about April or March, April, May, June, around about June of 2010 to say, hey, you need to come here, come and stay, and I'm like, nah. And one Saturday, my mother overheard a conversation I was having with her on the telephone and said, listen, just go, take the offer and go. And I reluctantly came to New York on August 2, 2010, with the intention of going back, around about September, thereabout. And, coming closer to the time, I was telling my mother that, I'm going to be heading back. And she's like, no, you really can't come now because the place is just tense. Can you stay a little longer? I'm like, okay, fine. Really, I can stay for about 6 months without being out of status because at the time I don't want to lose my visa.
Right, right.
You get me? So I'm like, I'll be back.
The precious visa to Jamaicans.
Huh?
The precious visa to Jamaicans.
The precious visa, right?
Yes.
So while I was there, I had many challenges within the first, I would say, 3 to 4 months. That, trust me, this program, I cannot speak about those issues tonight. Trust me when I tell you that. But another lady in Canada who I met at a conference the year before, a youth development conference in Trinidad, she called me and she said, hey, Lawman, I see what's happening in Jamaica. I hear that you're in New York. I'm not advising you to go back home. This is a lady in Canada, working for a nonprofit that works with the government in Canada as well. And she's like, this is what I'm going to do for you. I want you to go to the UN and speak with X person. And she told me the date and the time I should go and meet with the individuals at the UN. To make a long story short, I went to the UN, met with whomever she sent me to meet with, and they provided me with a team of attorneys. And by the end of December of 2010, I had all relevant documentations to stay in the United States.
Wow. These are the times where you say, look at God.
Look at God. Look at God. It didn't take long. It really and truly didn't take long. But even though I had those documentations, Kevin, the first year here, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I was homeless. When somebody said sleeping on the train in New York, taking the train from the Brooklyn College stop, final stop on the tour, the 5 line, all the way to the Bronx and just riding the train all night. And I ended up in a shelter on December 1, 2010. And I was there in the shelter system for 3 weeks. And then somebody I met, this Caucasian lady, I met just by networking, because I do that pretty well. She asked me, where are you living? I went to do an interview by her job, and she's like, where are you living? And I told her the cross street, because really of a fact I didn't remember the address for the shelter. So I told her the cross street where I'm living in Brooklyn, and she said, oh, I'm from Brooklyn, but isn't that a shelter? I was like, oh my gosh. And she said, and I said, yes, it's a shelter. And she said, somebody like you should not be living in a shelter. I'd never forget her. Her name is Stephanie Scarf. And it so happened that she was going out of town with her then boyfriend, December 21. And I was to leave the shelter to be transferred to another shelter on December 21. and she told me I could stay in her apartment while they're away. And they were away for about 2 or 3 weeks. And by the time they came back, they had arranged for me to go somewhere else, and for about 6 months, that's how individuals just helped me so that I could have somewhere to stay for about a full year until I got my first apartment. I moved into my first apartment December 1, 2011, exactly a year after I moved into the shelter.
Wow.
So, and people may say, so how do you remember all of this? I used to journal. I used to journal. And even when I go through some of what I used to write, and I say, one day I'm going to publish this, I say to myself that maybe I can't because individuals who are still alive will be hurt. Kevin, there are individuals in the diaspora, individuals who are gatekeepers, individuals who profess righteousness, who directly or indirectly made my life a living hell, right? And those who you thought would be the ones who are vindictive or malicious. As a matter of fact, somebody who helped me at one point was an atheist. And I didn't know until after the fact, because the love and the support that I got from them, I thought they were Christian.
Right.
And then there are those who profess righteousness, who really, but again, is people.
Right.
People are people. So we just roll with the punches and we keep it moving, and we try not to harbor any malice or, negative vibes or feelings towards humanity.
You say you are led to write a book, but people would get hurt. People would be hurt. To that I will say this. Your story is your story. The individuals who have roles that are played in your life as you've gotten from point A to B to where you are now are just that. It can't be changed. You may change the name to protect the feelings
Identity.
somewhat, but they know who they are.
They know who they are.
And so your story is one that I believe should be told any way you see fit and at a time that you see fit. Because at the end of the day, it's nobody's story but yours. So I say, put out the book. Listen.
You see, the thing with books, Kevin, I think if we're going to tell our story, we have to be very authentic.
Well, if you're going to live a life, it should be an authentic one. The problem that most of us have is this, that we put on this facade as to who we are so that some people will like us. It's not who you are. And if you have a story to tell, and within that story comes something that can help someone, just you telling this part of your story, it lets a person know, wait, there's a program that I could possibly go through to have a better life. There is possibly a way that I can get out of my situation in the country that I live in and go somewhere else and start over. And boy, it won't be that easy a transition. I might have to struggle through for a little bit. But it can be do.
Right.
Because this guy did it. And if he did it, that means there were resources that were available before because somebody pointed him in that direction. Somebody made some phone calls. So all I need to do now is find either him or who it is that can point me in the direction of those resources. So your story is important. whether it's going to be in the form of well, we're in a social media age. It's going to be in the form of little clips that you put out on social media, or it's going to be short stories that you publish on LawmanLynch.com. You know, you put out a little piece each time, whether it be weekly, monthly, whatever. Come back and catch a piece. Whichever way it is that you do it, I really believe you should.
Thanks for that.
Because
Thanks for that.
there is hope in your story. And we haven't even heard all of it yet. We
True.
probably won't hear all of it
That
tonight.
much is true.
We won't hear all of it tonight, but we'll hear some highlighted points that would give some kind of hope and would paint a picture as to who you are and why you do what you do. So you face these difficulties. You got into your first apartment. Now, I know when you got that key, it was one thing to look at the place. But when you got that key and you went in the first time after going out to work. So you went out to work, you went out for a day's activity. You came back the first time, put your key in that door, and went inside. You remember that feeling?
I remember the feeling as though it was yesterday. Funny enough, it's interesting because my mom, by the way, I had the opportunity this year to bring her up to the United. It was her first time in America. You know, so she's now living in America.
Wow.
And that to me, I said it, I remember speaking at a function recently, and I said, I feel like I've accomplished whatever it is I needed to accomplish in life. I did that for my mom. My sister is here. If life stops for me tomorrow, I'm fine. I'm all right. Because for me, that was what I wanted to accomplish, you know, to be able to provide that opportunity for my mother. But I got my first job July 1, 2011 with the Salvation Army in Brooklyn. And how I ran into that Corps officer is a story in itself. It deserves another show. When I was apartment hunting, I didn't have credit. You know, it was bad. And the Corps officer, Major Wilfred Samuel, he co-signed for me to get that apartment. I got the apartment in, you know, when it was cold, of course. You know, individuals started to decorate their house. It was Christmas time. I did say it was December 1, right?
Right.
And when I was walking home that first day after having my key, as you said, I was walking past a Catholic church that was on the corner of my block. Well-decorated church, gave me the vibe of Christmas. In myself, I said, foreign nice. It just, it just looked good, and I had a winter coat. I wasn't all that warm, but I knew that when I got inside my apartment, I would have been warm. And I saw somebody homeless on the street. And I said to myself, my heart, you know, kind of fluttered, like, because I'm like, is he going to be out here all night in this cold? You know, and I opened the door. I was thankful for walking into warmth, but my mind couldn't come off the fact that I saw a middle-aged guy, you know, on the street, nowhere to go, clearly homeless. And I'm saying, you know, as much as I wanted to help, I was still thankful for where I was.
Yes.
You know, and I remember posting on Facebook something to the effect of, you know, I just passed a homeless person and I wish I could help somebody like that, or something to that effect. And one of my cousins told my mother, what I posted on Facebook, and my mother called and she's like, "Be careful in the Leon, be careful. It can't help everybody. Be careful."
It's true.
Again, out of concern. But yeah, I remember what it was like. It's a wonderful feeling. Being homeless is not a pretty feeling. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a nice feeling at all. And I'm forever grateful to Majors Wilfred and Margaret Samuel, who were my core officers at the time, who
Mm-hmm.
helped me through that process and even gave me my first pot. And but not
Mm.
long after that, Kevin, my house became a hostel. If somebody was coming up from Jamaica and wanted somewhere to stay, they could stay at my one bedroom
Mm.
apartment. And even to this day, I still try to help individual make that transition from Jamaica or wherever else. If they're recommended to me, I
Yes.
will assist if I can. Um, and that for me is fulfilling. That's
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I only have one rule when individuals come to my home. Do not, I will not tell anybody that I helped you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd appreciate it if you tell nobody that I helped you. If in the future they feel overwhelmed to the point where they feel like they have to say something, that is fine. But there is nothing, I don't have to say I helped Tom, Dick, Mary, Jane, Kane.
Right.
I don't have to go out and say, you know, Kevin is staying by me. That's not,
Right.
it's really not necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, that's my only, I guess that's a personal rule.
And I get it. Some people might not, but I get it.
Yeah.
I have, when it's funny, both our first official jobs in the United States were with the church that we went to, our home
Yeah.
church. Mine was in Illinois. It was in one of the suburbs of Chicago, in Evanston, was where I worked, and I lived in North Chicago, just up the street from Loyola University. And I remember also in the cold, because I went to start my job just after Thanksgiving,
Wow.
and I got right into it. So it's relatable for me what it was that you went through at the beginning. And like you, I had the help of the core officers at the time. Do you see Devon saying big ups?
So,
See you in the chat room. Devon
that's
Craig, that is.
cool.
Yeah. So I could relate.
Yeah.
And also going home, taking the train, passing a homeless person here or there.
Mm.
And I too had a friend that had stayed with me at some point. And it was kind of surreal, because here I am, this foreigner in this foreign land, in this I, I wasn't even in the state that I came to, because initially I'd come to Florida and I moved away to go work, and then came back to Florida, and helping these natives of America
Mm-hmm.
from this place. Now they're doing wonderfully in
That's good.
right now, but I had the opportunity to extend that hand, because a hand was extended to me, and it was
Yeah,
passed on.
and it on Friday, I took my mom to see a friend of hers, uh, who when I came in 2010, Thanksgiving 2010,
Mm-hmm.
she invited me over to her home for dinner. It was my first, warm time. Yeah,
Mm.
it was probably the warmest weekend I had in 2010. And she knitted a scarf for me. I got there the Thursday, I left the Saturday, all night Thursday, all day Friday, third Saturday morning. She was knitting, an elderly woman. She's 101 years old now. So 14
Wow.
years ago, she we were, yeah. and she stayed up and she knitted. I still have the scarf. She gave me a coat. I still have the coat. You know, no, she's not remembering stuff. And I look at her and I'm like, these are people who are really a part of my history, they and my life, because they provided us a safety net for me
Yes.
when I needed it. It needed it the most. And as you mentioned, being cold and stuff, I remember one of the places that I stayed between January, February 2011, and I would say March 2011 was a residency for artists. And thanks to the Salvation Army, I was a musician. So I
Right.
qualified to stay
Right.
at that place. But it was so drafty. I mean, it was cold. You know what I had to do every night, Kevin? I had somebody had given me one of those old laptops. Once you plug the laptop in, it generated heat. Yeah, I don't think once you plug it in, it generated heat. And I had to iron the bed in the nights. Iron the bed first, as in plug in the iron the bed, as in iron the mattress,
So it
iron
could
it
warm up.
so that it warms up. Plug in that laptop, put the laptop on the bed with the blanket, and that's how I had to stay warm.
Wow.
Right? So we sometimes people see you get to a particular level or see you quote unquote thriving, and you said it earlier, that they really don't know half the story, and the other half may never ever be told. You get me?
True.
So we just cut and go through. Life in itself is interesting and arguably short. So because of that, we can't focus on the negatives. We can't be pessimistic. We can't put all our energy into what may be considered non-productive or counterproductive. We just have to understand what our mission is, understand what our purpose is, understand our passion
Yes.
or drive, and just stay on course.
So you had these teething pains and ended up in a position where, all right, you can start to sink teeth into what was going on around you. You couldn't stay away for too long. You got involved. How were you getting involved? What was it that you were doing that it led you to this point where you can say, hey, District 42, see me here now.
41.
It's 41?
41, yeah.
Where'd I get 42 from? District 41.
Right.
I am here. I've been here. Time for you to recognize.
Right.
What was it? How that you got into initially that took you to this point?
Right. So it's full circle, full circle, going back to working, being a part of the, working with and being a part of the Salvation Army. So we know what community service is. We know what community development is. We know what outreach should look like and what it should feel like. Politicians are really servants, but they are
Yes.
jaded in thinking the opposite. They think people are the servants, when really politicians are servants and should be practicing what is known as servant leadership. A lot of us need to go and look it up, right? So working with the Salvation Army, working in youth development, working in education, I guess my current job kind of opened my eyes to what needs to be done at a policy level and cannot be done from the outside or being on the periphery, right? There are certain things that if we want change, we really can't do it from the outside. We have to really influence policy, and by influencing policy, I don't mean holding up a placard up by Albany and advocating. All of that is good. especially for optics and, applying pressure to politicians. But at the end of the day, the politician has the pen, right? And I live in a district that there are so many gaps. There's so much that needs to be done. And when you have an incumbent who has been around for so long, right? Term limited out and then return. And it's almost like the district is stagnant. Not much is happening in education. Not much is happening in youth development. Not much is happening in terms of, improving the health systems, and connections within the district. Not much is happening for the culture. We have to say, are we going to complain day in and day out, or are we going to make a difference? And I decided that instead of complaining, I'm going to offer myself for that level of leadership. And you'll hear that, this person is hard to beat, and it is fine. I have nothing to lose. I literally have nothing to lose.
Right.
I'm not in a seat. I'm trying to hold on to a seat. I'm really trying to offer myself. Well, not trying. I'm offering myself in a district, in a constituency that I believe need better services and better representation. And if the result is unseating somebody, so let it be. Let the chips fall where they may. But my focus really is a social justice campaign where we put people at the center of everything we do. People, P-E-O-P-L-E, at the center of everything we do. And when I say people at the center of everything we do, it's really an acronym. We're talking about public safety, education, optimization, public health, love, and enterprise, which is entrepreneurship. And when you really take the acronym apart, it's really a social justice campaign that we're running. And I believe that whether or not the incumbent is beatable, that's dependent on the electorate. But the reception that we've been getting so far is simply amazing, and we are in this to win it.
Devon, it's District 41 in Brooklyn, New York.
District 41.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
District 41, yes. Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
The it's who did the acronym, the people acronym? Was that you? Was that your doing?
That was my doing. I needed, as a public speaker, individuals have different strategies. How do you connect to an audience? You have to be mindful of the ears in which you speak in. And like I said, when I thought of social justice issues, I believe that in politics, in community work, once we recognize that people are at the core of whatever it is that we're doing, we will always find a solution. But the way my mind works is that it has to make sense. It has to make sense. So I had to break it apart. I had to break it apart so that it made sense.
Interestingly enough, I did that with my motto: have acceptance through enlightenment. Right. And if you take the first letters of each of those words, you can figure out the rest. And I did a whole broadcast on it. When I was putting it together, some friends told me, hey, no, that will never fly. You know what? Today, I saw a meme that said, what you're doing needs to make sense to you, not to everybody else. It was a little video clip, actually. And it showed this guy holding his hand on a dumbbell, on a treadmill. And he's running on the treadmill. His hand is down on the dumbbell. The dumbbell is on the side of the treadmill. And it looks strange with what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
but he's a one-man bobsledder. So you run with one hand on the sled, and you have to be down, bent over down, running at speed, and
Mm-hmm.
then you jump on and you ride this sled down this course.
Right.
It doesn't make sense when you look at it at the individual training, but when you see them in sport, no, it makes sense. So it doesn't have to make sense to everybody else. It just has to make sense to you. And
Right.
this is also what I hear coming out of your journey. It some things, us Jamaicans, I know growing up, my thing was, boy, if I were to go to foreign, what I as soon as I start working, I'm going to have a nice house and I'm going to have a car or two, or because that was what TV said.
Mm-hmm.
No, no,
Right.
not at all. That's not how that goes. And so you painting this picture of real transition, painting a picture of real struggles and determination and resilience to give the reward of success. And you probably don't even call it success. You probably call it this segment of your journey. Because I don't know
Sure.
what success looks like for you. But, well, let's find out. At the end of the day, what would you consider? Okay, well, at what point would you say, all right, now I can put my feet up? You said it in a sense when you got your mother to the United States. So, you know, everything is fine after this point. Do with me whatever you wish. My mother is now comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the epitome of success? Is that the picture of success for you, or is there more?
You actually answer it. This interview is something else.
I don't do interviews, sir.
This conversation, this conversation. Thanks for that correction, because in media, yeah, I get it. Trust me, that one hit. This conversation
Yes.
is
I wanna con
interesting.
nobody.
Success for me is really embracing the journey. I am at the tail end of my doctoral studies, and I said to my dissertation, I've always said to my dissertation chair that I want to be done like right now. I want to be done. And they always say, listen, Lawman, just appreciate the journey. I hear them, I take what they're saying. But when you want to finish something, and the more they tell me to appreciate the journey and the more I get into the research, um, is the more I'm appreciative of the journey. And I'm appreciative of the milestones that I reach. So when I get to completing chapter one and completing chapter two, that for me is success on a different level, because you are hitting those benchmarks. Getting my mother here, success. Having a job, holding on to the job, success. I tell people, if come next year, I'm running an election, I'm a part of a campaign. If I win, or when I win, for some, that is success. But for me, that's just another step. That's just another step. That's just another milestone on the journey. And even if the election goes the way I do not want it to go, I am sure lessons will be learned. And that in itself could be success.
Right.
Just by the people you meet, the opportunities and the doors that may open. It's all about the journey. It's all about the journey. And you're correct. Success looks like looks different for different people. Success for me would never be what I'm driving or where that I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm sure your dream car, when I was in high school, my dream car was a Suzuki Swift. You know,
The GTI.
not going.
The GTI, because I, for me, it was the rabbit, the rabbit, you know.
Kevin, me don't want to know. I don't want it. You know?
Yeah, keep that.
So I mean, it's not like the goalpost is shifting. It's just that we evolve,
You start
and
playing a different game.
yeah, and as we grow, we want more.
Yes.
But yeah, I am satisfied, or I am grateful for what I have achieved so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cognizant of the fact that for many, that would be seen as success, and I'm appreciative. You know, I'm really appreciative.
The campaign that you're on, you are moving towards getting people to recognize that there's more available to them. There's more that can be had. Do the people recognize that? Are they asking for something more? Are you getting that kind of feedback from the people in District 41 there in Brooklyn that, hey, we've been at this point for so long. I wouldn't want to call it stagnant, because for me, anything that is stagnant is dead. So let me not call your district a dead one, for in respect of the
Mhm.
current city council.
Right.
Slow moving. Let's call it that. Is that the kind of feedback that you've been getting? Why, at this point, you are now pushing towards taking over this mantle and pushing these issues as your campaign goals?
Right. So that's a very good question. The district has close to 200,000 residents, and eligible individuals eligible to vote come June 2025, around about 55,000. In the last elections, if let me see, if 7,000 individuals went out to vote, a lot went out, which means there is either voter apathy, or individuals are just not interested, or individuals don't believe that their vote will make a difference, whatever the situation is, whatever the case may be. The percentage way too low. But when we do our soft canvassing, we recognize a couple of things. We recognize that one, many have never voted. Two, those who vote only vote for the federal general elections, like the presidential elections.
Right, right.
Three, individuals do not know who their representative is, right? So, and three works very well for me. I do not mind number three, because if they don't know that, the incumbent, like we're from the other side.
Right, right.
And then four, the demographics of voters who actually go out to vote are those who are much older, senior citizens. So, without speaking too much about the strategy moving into next year, and I think you may be able to deduce what the strategy is going to be. Individuals are just totally unaware of what is happening in the district and the power of their votes. They may believe that voting for a president is more important, but really, for a fact, voting for your locally elected officials, that's where the power lies.
Yes.
That's who get the garbage collected, which that is a problem. The rats, I mean, I don't know when last you've been to New York. And I'm
Listen,
not
I know the
trying to
stories
say
though.
that, yeah,
I've heard the stories.
yeah, and simple things like rat-proof garbage cans, garbage bins, that are present in more affluent communities are not in. Oh, why can't it be wide scale? Simple fixes like those. So the more I speak to individuals, is the more I get a sense of what their concerns are. I remember going to a particular housing development, and the complaint is that the one supermarket in the area is, their prices are just ridiculous in comparison to other supermarket chains. And they do that only because they basically have a monopoly on that vicinity. You get me? And those things, in my view, can be curtailed through policy. Young people not having enough opportunities. We're talking about an investment in education. It goes back to a question that you asked earlier, why I want to do this. I want to do this because I believe that being passionate about education is critical for securing a brighter future. So, for example, an elected officials an elected official may be passionate about, let's say, I don't know, t-shirts. And because they're passionate about t-shirts, when they get in office, their investments will always be in t-shirts.
Right.
Because that's what they're passionate about. That's where all their monies are going to go to. Because I believe that in order for us to secure a safe and progressive future, we have to invest in education. I tell individuals all the time that my investment through the city council will be in primarily through education and entrepreneurship, and education specifically providing wraparound services between day school and after school programs. And the reason I want to take that in it, invest in that, is because, like you're a musician, I'm a musician. You said Devon is on. Devon is a
Yep.
musician. We learned it at church. Not everybody goes to church, but we can at least get our young people in after school programs, learning music, learning arts, learning, STEM, and, providing those support services while their parents or their guardians are at work until 6 o'clock. And then they become productive citizens. And we create a pipeline where they leave elementary school to middle school to high school to college or to a trade institution. Because the
Yes.
fact of the matter is, not everybody will be going to college to become doctors and lawyers. We need those
Facts.
electricians, we need
Yes.
those audio engineers, and that's what we're going to
We
be
need the
investing
plumbers
in.
and the pest control
We need
guys.
exactly,
Yep. Yep.
exactly.
How does this affect where you're coming from? Because you're still involved with youth development, with advocating for youth and equality. Back home, how would this affect that?
So I do have a nonprofit, Lawman Lynch Foundation.org, um, that I will step aside from once elected. But there are systems in place to ensure that there's a solid board of directors that will carry on the work. And we've been doing, various community development and educational initiatives through the foundation for 15 years. This year makes 16 years since, this year marks 16 years since we've been doing it.
Nice.
And we provide back to school support for the needy, for the those who are vulnerable or marginalized, and those who are also deserving. We do get a chance to vet, report cards to some extent, and then there are other individuals who just help because the parents need the help, providing school fees, vouchers to get to purchase books, laptops, in some cases, and also other youth development initiatives in Jamaica. And we've been doing that for, like I said, 16 years. That will continue. My whole thing is we have to lift as we rise. So as I elevate, the idea is not to just focus on those who are at my level or those who I meet post 2025, but to also remember, as you pointed out, where we're coming from and how we can somehow funnel resources through, and we're not doing this illegally, of course. We're building out our networks,
Right.
building our capacity and expanding our bandwidth so that we're able to provide more support services for those who are in need. So we are, as much as we're dual citizens, I don't believe that anybody will fault us for wanting to help the country where we were born or the country we're affiliated to. The Jews still help those in Israel.
Right. Right. Facts. How, as it relates to your campaign, what kind of assistance are you asking from Joe Public?
So spread the word. And the truth is, everybody knows somebody in New York. Everybody knows one person in New York. You may not know somebody in the district, but you know somebody in New York.
Right.
And then that person who you know in New York will know somebody in the Flatbush region. And that person in the Flatbush region will know somebody in the district. The district covers Bed-Stuy, sections of Crown Heights, Utica Avenue, East Flatbush, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, Remsen Village. So it's a really large district, right? So we want individuals to know more about the campaign. Visit our website, Lawman Lynch for Brooklyn.com. That's Lawman Lynch, my first and last name, for FOR Brooklyn.com, and you'll see all the information about the campaign. But importantly, we want individuals to donate to the campaign. I'm a part of what is known as the Matching Funds Program. Between now and December, the expectation is that the campaign should raise about $55,000. And once I raise that $55,000, Kevin, the city is going to match that amount, right? And it is very important because we do not have Bloomberg's money. We do not have Trump's money. We have to raise the funds so that we are able to get the message out, get the word out, get our platform issues out. So it's very important that we raise that $55,000 so that we're able to benefit from the matching funds program.
And those donations can be made directly on the website.
On the website, the Campaign Finance Board has a portal called Contribute. That's the only portal that will be accepting donations to virtually. So once you go on Lawman Lynch for Brooklyn.com, the portal will be there and you're able to donate, and anyone all across the United States of America can donate.
So what about people who are not in the United States?
Can't donate.
Oh, okay.
Can't donate. But if you want to donate to a cause and you believe that what we're doing through the foundation is something that you're passionate about and want to donate to the foundation itself, you can visit the foundation, lawmanlynchfoundation.org.
Got you. Now, people don't mix up the two, because whereas the same individual is involved, it's two different organizations. It's two different things happening there.
Thanks for that.
The .org, think of that as outreach all over. The .com, think of that as
politics.
More local and politics. Not politricks, but politics. Okay, we're working with it. A friend of mine who is involved in politics and social work in Palm Beach County. She says she's a peopletician, not a politician. And
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And,
Peopletician.
And your involvement is similar, yours and hers. The difference is she is American, born and raised, and everything. But I tip my hat to you. I support you every which way that I can. I'm proud of you. You've survived and thrived, and you're still pushing through. You didn't put your feet up and said, okay, I'm comfortable now, this is where I'm going to stop. Whomever wants to take on whatever, they can go and do it. No. On to the next thing, because there's more work to be done. And fortunately for those in your district, this is your calling. And I say fortunately because you recognize that there's something more that needs to be done, and people are asking for more to be done. And you're not just talking about it, you're being about it too. You're putting actions to your words. I am stepping up to do this, and this is what I want to focus on. I'm telling you what I want to focus on, and is either you're going to help me or you're not going to help me. I'm going to find the help whichever way I can. That's what I get from you. And I hope and pray this is what the people of District 41 there in Brooklyn, that is what they get from you also. I will be paying attention as I have been. We touch base every now and then, and we catch up. And this is the most that we've caught up. I probably would say forever. We get a little bit of updates here and there, but this one right here is much needed, and not just for me, but for those around you, for those that we know, who have also made a transition to the United States, that know you, that know where you're coming from, that can say, boy, you know what? This guy is, we know for a fact that if he says that this is what he's about, this is what he's about, and we're going to support it. So if I have $10, let me give him a $10, because every $10 adds up. So if you can give $10 a few times for the year leading into, when is it officially that you go on the ballot?
June 2025.
Okay, so we have
about 8 months.
Right, so, but 9. We have up until when for this matching?
Oh, so for the matching funds for this year, the end of, let's say mid-December.
So we have 2.5 months.
Cycle starts over again.
Okay, so it's whatever you make up until mid-December that they will match, or you have to make the 55?
They'll match whatever we make up until mid-December, and then the cycle begins again in January, and then they'll match whatever we make between January and June.
Okay. So there are two pushes, basically. There are two campaigns. There's a campaign right now to December. Let's do what we can in this campaign. If you cannot, and don't think because you can't give $2,000 that you can't give something.
No, $5.
Understand. $5. But that's what I'm saying. People need to understand. If you are a regular coffee drinker, give up 1 cup of coffee, and each week, and at the end of the month you put that money,
right,
and you do it again next month. So you can put 3 cups of coffee a week for the next month and a half, 2 months, 2.5 months, and then you can do it again come next year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you were asking for more than that. I was just putting my spin on it, but I don't think you're asking for much more than that.
Yeah, that's it.
So there you have it, people. It's just a matter of a cup of coffee. Yeah? Lawman, I appreciate love that you took the time out to share a little bit of you, so that people can understand that there are people that are living out there that have gone through it and haven't given up on what they're called to do because of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You're the poster child at this point of resilience and determination. Falling down, getting up, helping others up as you have gotten up, and not resting on laurels. And I tip my hat to you for that and encourage you to not stop. Keep doing,
Okay.
keep going, because your work is just beginning. You're far from finished.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. This is appreciated. I've had a few. I've received press coverage in New York and of course in Jamaica. But those are like snippets. Those are like snapshots. You may get onto a radio program here and they give you a 5 minutes interview or a 10 minutes interview max. This has been my first full featured engagement, and I thank you for that. We were able to cover some grounds. I learned some more about you as well, and I'm sure, and I'm appreciative of your listeners and your viewers. But there's something about this conversation that will definitely go down in my books as something that I'm extremely grateful for. Like I said, it's my first time doing a full featured engagement. We're an hour and a half thereabouts.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like I was in the hot seat for an hour and a half. Off the couch for an hour and a half. So thank you very much, Kevin.
All right,
Thank you.
not a problem. As we wrap up tonight's broadcast, I do a thing called musical therapy. So I get off and I play a few tunes here and there because it's a part of me also. And I'm going to kick off this segment with a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Isaac Buchanan. There are some that don't know that he's a recording artist, but you know him from way back. Way
Oh,
back.
yeah.
Kind of like Seeds don't go back as far as we do or you and him do, but kicking off with a track from him called All in Life. And it talks about these things in life. All the best to you, Lawman, on this campaign. At least 2 people are in your corner supporting you. You have Devon, who has been sharing out the word on his social media platforms. But there are a bunch of people that are listening in that are not commenting. There are a bunch of
Right.
people on various platforms. They're in New York, Island Worldwide in Connecticut. You have NIE Radio, you have Mix102.com that has a sister station in Jamaica. And of course, people in Jamaica know people in New York. And
Right.
One Harmony Radio in the UK, the Foundation Radio Network, ClintonLindsay.com, a man who was big in New York on the radio and in entertainment. So he still has a lot of New York connections. So these platforms pretty much shared your story tonight. And I appreciate of them also. And I much respect and thanks to them for sharing. Lawman, have yourself a good night. Go get some rest. You were busy all day. It's all in life. It's community and finance night, and we're getting into musical therapy.
It takes some time to understand. Yeah.
Take care, brethren.
Just what it takes to be a man. Yeah. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way.
Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to live.
Blessings, G Angel.
If you try. You know I've heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life. To laugh and to cry. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving. Moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all
True words, Cynthia.
keep your head up and keep
Quite astute.
time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up.
Keep your head up.
Just keep your head up.
Keep your head up.
Gotta keep your head up.
Keep your head up. 'Cause everything's gonna be alright. Keep your head up.
But me know I'm still guiding. Me feel like me lose my best friend, my mentor and my guide. Me know same legacy lives on, always by my side. Me remember the days that they teach the word. Remember the love.
This track is called Legacy.
Daddy tell me, say son, put God first. Glad back.
Artist by the name of Stephen Murphy.
Study that first. A man of integrity. Never afraid, never shame. Philip, I got the life. Make many see. Bold and heavy. Have it hold up steadily. You golden legacy. Daddy show me the way to the heavenly gate.
Tribute to that.
Gone and I celebrate. Although it hurt and I feel the pain, heaven still again. Just I hold the faith and feel the stain. We keep stronger when we promise you. Your last words, you tell me you love me too. Such a lonely avenue. Forever I'll be loving you. Daddy, your legacy living on in me. Daddy, your legacy guide me through the nights. I wish me could have turned back the hands of time. Tell you some I love you one more time. And get some more advice. So if we navigate through this life. Daddy, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. And you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. But your memory live on, live on, live on. The amount of tears me cry, me ball, me ball. Daddy, your legacy living on in me. Daddy, your legacy.
Sometimes it's not an earthly father. Sometimes it's a father figure. Sometimes you are that individual.
Remember the love that they unfurl. Daddy tell me
Recognize that you're leaving a legacy behind
no, say me
when you touch young lives.
integrity.
Never afraid, never shame, feel it back at the life. Make many see bold.
Lawman is not yet a dad,
You cool and legacy.
but there are many young people that say, you know what,
Now him gone.
this guy, when I grow up, I want to be like him.
Heaven steal again. Just a hold the faith and feel the stain. We keep stronger when we promise you. Your last words, you tell me you love me too. Such a lonely having.
When we come across people like those, we need to truly support them.
Daddy, your legacy living on in me. Daddy, your legacy guide me through the night.
It's been a long journey through the pages of time. The mirror of my mind shows a barren land where the sun don't shine. They've been
This is called Journeys.
to imprison my soul.
The artist's name is Cass Smith.
These chains will never hold me. Sing
Way oh, na 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 na. 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 Way oh, na 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 na.
hunger and starvation is the name of the day. Third world children are starving while they throw tons of food away. Politics, bureaucracy, Babylon with the mental slavery. The blood of the innocent run deep in the river of despair. We sing
Way oh, na 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 na. 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 Time has passed, but everything remains the same.
the earth is weeping. She's in so much pain.
When will we stop?
When will we stop?
When will we learn?
When will we learn? So many lessons have come and gone.
Way oh, na 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 na. 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 Way oh, na 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 na.
Triumphantly we shall rise up and win.
Black people,
The whole wide world shall see the light where they end. Like Bob Marley, they gave prophecy. Our children shall fight against slavery. Soldiers of peace we shall march through the promised land. We sing
way oh, na 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 na. 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 Way oh, na 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 na.
For the air that I breathe, for a place to sleep and food to eat,
This is Elisa Marie.
for the dawning of each day.
Track called Thank You, Father.
Brand new possibilities, yeah. I can go chill and vibe with a friend. Sweet meditations and a little reasoning. Thanks for waking me this morning. Thank you for today. Thank you, Father. Thank
This is music from Cesar. That's the title right there. That no right.
DJ Kevin Stew, all manners and respect his due, cause you are carry the music and the culture right through. Big up yourself, Cesar. Bless.
Much love says.
It says our fire stereo.
From the Greater Glory compilation.
No, we cancel. So much going on, you wonder when it go wrong. So, how can it go on and on for so long? So, every day we hear the common people are all. But there's a few so high that they don't feel it at all. If there's a gap, then why we can't help people for cross? There's so much more things we have for y'all. But make the good die young. The flood to get so we go. But make the blood not stop run. All the tricks don't get done. Someone say them a top shot, so them get them top feeling. More money make way, more blood they must feel it. Making a living while making a killing. That's not right. Well, imagine if we see the people get together and put on all the war and start the healing together. And then the time you would have seen the teams getting better. And every little you could have a future we prefer. But the powers that decide to divide have a method. We use whichever side to provide them oppression. And after all this time we are fight for possession. When we could all be solving the traps when they say come make the good die young. So the ghetto we go. Why the blood not stop run.
It's not right at all. But sometimes we have someone that comes along that fight for the right. When those people come along, give them your support. It's about that time where we parts company. But as we go, I want to remind you, look out for members of your community. Your community is not just a development that you live in, but it spreads far and wide. So those that you pass on the bus, the plane, the boat, the train, whether you walk, ride, or drive, these are members of your community. Go ahead and do something good for them today, because you never know who's going to do something good for you tomorrow. My name is Kevin Stew, so I like to do it to you, for you, and with you Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here, kevinstew.com. It's called The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. And then catch me on a Saturday, 8 p.m. on Reggae Global Radio and affiliates. That's called The Saturday Stew, where you have more music and less talk. The other side of me. Y'all take care. Good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are in the world, from right here in South Florida. I wish you a good night. Take care, be good. If you can't be good at it. I'm out of here, y'all take care.
More money make when more blood they must feel it. Making a living while making a killing. That's not right.
Greetings and salutations, one and all. You're invited to tune in to The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew. It airs on Mondays with Community and Finance, Tuesdays with Healthy Love, and Wednesdays with Real Talk from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Come spend some time interacting in the stew pot, where we keep things bubbling and wind down in musical therapy. The Night Shift with DJ Kevin Stew is on kevinstew.com, where you're encouraged to have acceptance through enlightenment.